India's independence from British rule in 1947. India's victory in the Kargil War of 1999. India's Cricket World Cup victory in 1983. India's Cricket World Cup victory in 2011. India's first Olympic gold medal in field hockey in 1928. India's Olympic gold medal in shooting in 2008. India's Olympic gold medal in wrestling in 2008. India's victory in the 1971 war against Pakistan. India's victory in the 1965 war against Pakistan. India's successful Mars mission in 2014. 1. India's successful Chandrayaan mission to the Moon in 2008. India's successful Mangalyaan mission to Mars in 2014. India's successful anti-satellite missile test in 2019. India's successful nuclear tests in 1974 and 1998. India's successful Agni missile tests. India's successful development of the BrahMos missile. India's successful test of the Prithvi missile. India's successful test of the Nag missile. India's successful test of the Akash missile. India's successful test of the Barak missile. India's successful test of the Sagarika missile. India's successful test of the Dhanush missile. India's successful test of the Shaurya missile. India's successful test of the Agni V missile. India's successful test of the Nirbhay missile. India's successful test of the hypersonic technology demonstrator vehicle. India's successful test of the smart anti-airfield weapon. India's successful test of the smart anti-airfield weapon 2. India's successful test of the BrahMos ING missile. India's successful test of the Quick Reaction Surface-to-Air missile. India's successful test of the Pinaka rocket system. India's successful test of the Prithvi 2 missile. India's successful test of the Dhanush missile from a ship. India's successful test of the BrahMos missile from a Sukhoi 30 Mki aircraft. India's successful test of the Helena anti-tank missile. India's successful test of the Prahar missile. India's successful test of the Nag missile from a helicopter. India's successful test of the Astra missile. India's successful test of the HSTDV with scramjet engine. India's successful test of the Rudram anti-radiation missile. India's successful test of the Spice 2000 guided bombs. India's successful test of the Shakti-1 nuclear reactor. India's successful test of the Prithvi defense vehicle. India's successful test of the BrahMos extended range missile. India's successful test of the Nirbhay cruise missile. India's successful test of the Shaurya hypersonic missile. India's successful test of the hypersonic technology demonstrator vehicle 2. India's successful test of the Rudram-1 anti-radiation missile. India's successful test of the Prithvi 2 missile from a mobile launch. India's successful test of the DRDO's anti-satellite missile (ASAT) system.